Hi, this is Mon Rasz and you are listening to my daily thoughts number 11. Today's reflections are about 3 viruses: assumptions, beliefs and emotions. The misunderstanding of 2 people having a conversation starts here and ended quite often in the past with war of 2 cultures. Why is it so hard for us to communicate, despite all the means of communications we have available to us? In session number 2, discussion, I pointed towards the different attitudes of people that make a true discussion very difficult. But even if we go beyond that step, even if everyone drops his or her attitude and agrees to a base discussion, progress is still not guaranteed, because we are dealing with the 3 viruses, named assumptions, beliefs and emotions. Let's focus on that issue today and shine some light on those viruses and find out when and where they are coming from. Here are 2 stories. Example 1. Imagine a law is put in place by the government. A lot of people build on that law, which in turn makes it possible for them to get a good job or buy a nice house. In other words, a lot of their achievement in life comes from the very existence of that law. Now picture the same people having a conversation about it. Because at a closer look it turned out that the law was not supposed to be put up to begin with. The assumed conditions for the law to pass turned out to be wrong. How do you think these people will react in this discussion? Will they logically agree to change the law, basically agree to cut the branch off they are sitting on? Or is it more likely that they will defend their position by all means? Rest assured, like out of nowhere, these 3 viruses will pop up. It's a given. Assumptions, beliefs and emotions will dictate that exchange of opinions, because everyone benefiting from the law is trying to somehow circumvent the necessity to make a reform. If the law had been subject to verification of truth, the whole situation could have been avoided. Example 2. Picture the moment of a Christian wedding, when both are asked to promise for everlasting love to one another. Can you picture it? If so, we can already stop right here, at that key point. Promise for everlasting love. How can one expect a sort of spiritual contract to last, if the basis is basically built on sand? As much as we wish for love to last forever, it's a fact that nobody can foresee the future, so nobody can assure that both parties involved can maintain love for each other. There are just too many variables that play a role, one of them being that each person is more likely to develop in a different direction than not. It's just pure statistics. If you are truthful to yourself and the one you love, you should be so right from the beginning. In case love is to be expected to extend beyond bodily attractiveness, that means to include full understanding, appreciation and the readiness to forgive, then you need to set the correct parameters right from the get-go. Here's the conclusion of session number 9 in form of a marriage checklist. Do you both physically like or at least accept each other? Check. And do you both seek, do and speak the truth? Check. And are you both able to check thoughts, actions and happenings for logic and are able to forgive each other? Check. Then you have a good chance of making a love partnership work, as long as you maintain status quo. The important phrase is, as long as you maintain status quo. Why or when do the 3 viruses, assumptions, beliefs and emotions appear in a partnership? Exactly when the above checklist doesn't apply anymore. Check it out for yourself. Let me put the conclusion of this session in form of another story. Imagine, one more time today, that you are in front of a judge and you have sworn to tell the truth. So you have three choices when you are asked questions. A. You tell the truth. B. You don't say anything. And C. You lie. The judge is known as being a real tough one, one that punishes severely when he or she discovers you or anyone else involved lied on purpose. So you have to think twice before responding. Now sit back and give it some thought for a few minutes, how much different your life could have been if you had this judge at your side all the time, at every moment in your life when you made a decision. My final thought on this is, at any point in life when you see one or more of the three viruses appear, you know that something is not right. Most often something is not true. That's why assumptions, beliefs and emotions take over, because the basis of truth has gone. If you are facing such a situation, act and seek the truth. For today, I thank you for your time. May the higher spirit help us evolve. Until the next daily thoughts, yours truly, Mon Rasz. And today's post-lectum is: first, I intended to post a poem that was almost finished, but on reviewing my reflections up to this point, I wasn't sure anymore if what I concluded so far was precise enough. The point I would like to emphasize here is the following. Everything that describes the past and tries to project the future, like contracts, has a very weak side, which is the look in the future. The whole intent of these papers is to make sure that conditions that worked when looking back will also work looking forward. We could say that contracts try the future to equal the past, disallowing any development. Business-wise, unfortunately, contracts are necessary, since values like honesty and integrity belong to a fairy tale world. But on the personal side, when it's about your spiritual growth and development, how can you voluntarily sign such notes? You might not know, but you are subject to agreements, so to speak, on an everyday basis. For instance, as soon as you turn on that radio or TV button to the on position, you agree to their terms and conditions, meaning that your subconscious mind might be subject to an ongoing effort of reformulation. And in similar ways it is when you are part of a club, guild, group or organization of any kind, which all try to make you think like they do. These unwritten group or society policies makes it so hard to allow for personal growth and development. Here is my today's advice. Everything you hear, see or even smell, let it go through the two firewalls of truth and logic, as laid out in DT-005 and 6. The remaining information, as little as it might be at the end, you allow to officially be welcomed in your mind and to be readied for further processing. You'll notice that the viruses will have disappeared. At least on your side.